upside down. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the fourth episode of Un Momento with Isabella Milano. I am joined by a very dear friend, a singer, guitarist, lyricist, and a really amazing musician, CD Onofrio. CD was the Folk Artist of the Year winner, and an Alistair Young recipient. CD, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me on, Izzy.
So I know that you were working on an album during the pandemic, during this break. What was the process like, and how has your songwriting changed kind of because of our current situation?
So yeah, the process for me was I was trying to turn around the negative of having to shelter in place and turn it into artist in residence. And so I took out some songs and kind of curated and chose the ones that I thought would resonate in this kind of very strange time. And so I focused on, I guess, songs that had some themes of uncertainty and some struggles and things like that. And obviously, a different part of the process was, or maybe not so obviously, but I was the only musician that plays on the album. So I wasn't able to get my musician friends to play on it. So I ended up playing multiple instruments, guitar, bass, piano, a few others, probably organ and things like that. And it was, I guess I really consider that a folk record because it was something that I could do in a room and without much external help. Yeah.
Wow. So like what I hear you're saying is that you did basically everything on this album. That's really incredible. And so there again, yes, you don't really have that collaboration, but you kind of experimented with different instruments, and then you ended up incorporating a lot of things. I know that you've done a lot of songwriting, what you've written like 10 albums, or that's amazing.
Yeah, I've been writing since I was 17, and songwriting was really what got me into music. So when I picked up the guitar, I couldn't sing very well. I couldn't play the guitar very well, but I would just make a noise, and I think, oh, that sounds like I could sing this line, and then I discovered how to play guitar around the songwriting, and then had to discover how to sing as well. So I think for me, songwriting was really my entryway into music.
Yeah, and that's just such an organic way of learning as well, by actually, applying something that you really love to do, and discovering a little bit more about a different pathway. And music was definitely similar as well for my experience. Songwriting and telling stories and expressing yourself through that is, this universal language of a melody. So when you were writing these albums, what was something that you found really helped you get creative? Because I know even writers, all types of creatives, this is a show where we talk to many different creatives. How were you able to overcome this roadblock?
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't felt much like writing during most of this past year, and that has been my process for songwriting, is basing it on lyrics. So for the album that I made, those were songs that I had already written, and I could focus on them because they were already constructed, they were already there. And then more recently, I've been really just focusing on the musical part of it. So Rather than coming up with lyrics first. I've been coming up with musical figures, and then if there's words that come about, I'll fill them in. But mostly I'm coming up with the composition first, and that seems a bit easier. I feel like, I don't know, after a year of this, there's just not too much new for me to say anyhow. So that's been a way that I've been dealing with it, is focusing more on the musical element.
Wow, yeah, sometimes taking a different approach, because I definitely get that when you write down some lyrics, you do the writing first, then you find the music. But yeah, that is very interesting, going from the music and then kind of writing down your lyrics and creating this story that you're hearing.
Mhm.
Uh, I know you have this project going on. It's the Jam in Perpetuity. Am I saying that right? Tell me about that.
The Jam in Perpetuity. It's a musical marathon where the aim is for it to never stop. So it keeps going. It's that I'll play a shift and then pass it on to the next musician, and they'll pass it on to the next musician. They'll pass it on to the next musician. So that's the idea. Right now, it's a music marathon, and we've got some support from the city of Niagara Falls. Thank you. And from some sponsors, Niagara Home Heating and the Niagara Falls Musician Union. And so we've got a 40-hour marathon in shape. And so there's musicians taking mostly 2-hour shifts and playing for 40 hours. And that's coming up real soon. It starts on St. Patrick's Day.
On St. Patrick's Day. Wow, that sounds very interesting. So I assume then this is all types of music, many different musicians. Is this virtual or is it in person?
This is virtual right now. Some of the bands will be together and they'll be playing on a stage, as they would, but there's not really, there's not a festival component or a live audience component built in. So it's virtual. It can be attended from anywhere. A musician could play from anywhere. So for instance, I'm going to just play from my home, and do the singer-songwriter thing, and and broadcast it. And then the hope is we're gonna open it up, and we've got a Patreon account, which is a crowdsourcing platform, so that other musicians can sign up, and then if people can support them, the Patreon is there to say, you know what, here's a little bit of currency to keep you on your way. So yeah, that's something that we thought would be nice at the end of this winter, to get some musicians back performing and expressing themselves. And yeah, it starts March 17th and it goes to March 20th right now. And it can be streamed at jaminperpetuity.live.
Wow. So this is how, so we can watch this then virtually, see the different musicians on their different shifts, and donate to support them and this cause.
Yeah, so I mean, for instance, if you wanted to sign up and then we could find somebody to say, you know what, I want to support Isabella to play her shift, um, that that is able, you're able to do that through the website now. And and then the Patreon allows for the public to support.
Wow, well, that is just absolutely incredible. It's not only a great way to find new talent and to also hear new sounds, but it's also really great because we're in a time where performers are, we have so many amazing performers, and stages are just not there. We're not seeing people live. So this is really something incredible. I'm definitely going to be watching as many performances as possible and donating to this because it's a great cause. What made you decide to start something like this? Because I imagine this has been in the works for a bit of time.
This has been in the works for a while, and the idea came from a musician named Rod Standish. And Rod, he just said it to me one day, and initially I didn't think very much of it. I thought it was kind of curious. I thought it was like Ripley's Believe It or Not, the tallest man in the world, the smallest man in the world, and the longest jam in the world. And Rod, he's the type of person to follow through on these ideas. He walked across Canada from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean, and he took his guitar and he dipped it in each ocean, and he wrote an album along the way.
Wow.
And so the idea ended up inspiring me quite a lot, and I thought about it in terms of like the Niagara Falls. The Niagara Falls has this continual flow over the brink and the falling water, and then we have the electricity that gets generated from that falling water. I was like, wow, all that persistent water, it becomes very powerful. What if we did this with music? What kind of power could be generated? And I thought it was cool because it could be that, say, my grandchild could be in the same project as I'm a part of. And so I play a shift now, and then 50 years from now, they play the shift then. I thought it was like, wow, that would be really, I don't know of anything that's quite like that as far as a project that spans generations intentionally. So yeah, you're right. It's been in the works for a while, and I was part of a group, and am part of a group called the Perpetual Peace Project. And the idea with that is to take that same musical jam, but apply it towards trying to generate good energy in the world. And one of the things that I've experienced with music is that music can sometimes get past some of the polemics, some of the divisiveness, and people can bond over music in a way that words sometimes struggle to unite people.
Yeah, very well said. It's true. There is just something about music that cannot truly be described, but it must be felt, demands to be felt. And it does unify us. It's something that all generations have this sentimental attachment to. So I love that this is a project that we're going to see is continuous in a time where a lot of things are uncertain and we don't know whether or not, things are going to stay the same. We can know that music is always going to be something that we'll keep going back to. And, we always turn to the arts during tough times for a reason. So that is really incredible, CD. It's been so incredible to talk to you. How can we support you? Can you tell us where to go again for as far as watching this virtually, for musicians to sign up that are interested?
Yeah. So jaminperpetuity.live, LIVE, or you can search Jam in Perpetuity on Facebook. And to support, if you've got finances to support, you can go to patreon.com/jaminperpetuity. And I guess I'll spell perpetuity, but it's PERPETUITY. And you can find all the info there. Thank you so much, Isabella.
Amazing. It's been great to have you. I've really enjoyed our conversation.
Likewise.
Bye, CD.
Bye now. In the wilderness, beneath the forest floor, buried in a hole, I covered myself over, holding myself tightly in my fear. I could not see you anymore. I didn't know the warmth I felt was your presence watching over me.
and saw you there, I felt as if I won the lottery, but I am broken pottery, and your healing ways are plentiful. I am made beautiful.
Hi there, and thank you so very much for watching today's episode of Un Momento with Isabella Milano. I appreciate all of your support so very much, and I love you all so much. So remember to dream big and reach for the stars. Till next time.